Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ginge and Pedro Show, episode 12. I am, of course, Mr. Ginge Gingerton. Alongside me, my boy. Go ahead, Pedro.
I'm a very excited ballerina. I'm very excited for this show today because we're getting like an animation legend in. I'm Pedro, by the way. So, dude, I hope we do a good job for you guys today because this is big, at least to me.
Yes. Pedro's an animation guy, so anytime we can have anybody who's doing anything with animation, but our guest here has quite an impressive resume of animation. But anytime we can get another animator in here, I just get to sit back with basically my thumb up my ass while the two of them just go to work talking about animation. So it's always a good time for me. And with that, let's go ahead and introduce our guest, Mr. David Otterman, or Davey Otterman. PumSpak. Hello.
Hey, what's happening?
Not much.
All right. Thanks
What's
for joining
up?
us, David.
It's very nice to meet both of you. And my last name is Otterby.
Oh,
Otterby.
I'm sorry, buddy.
No problem,
My bad.
Davey Otterby.
My bad.
Awesome.
Hey, no problem. Nice to meet. It's nice to meet both of you. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Awesome.
All righty. Well, thanks for joining us. Yep. And so we're going to start the show here. We'd probably like to know a little bit about you. I know you've been around for maybe like 6 or so months here in the indie scene. How's it been? What are you making of everything down here in the comics community?
Yeah, you know what? I've been following the Comicsgate thing for quite some time. I really started getting into it with Douglas Ernst and Captain Cummings and your boy Zach back in the day is when I was able to stumble on some of those videos kind of early.
Right on.
And they really resonated with me and kind of my comic book experience as well, where, I don't know, just wasn't feeling it as much as I used to.
Yeah. Awesome.
I'm sorry. I think you asked me another question as well, but I forget already. But I think it's just, I'm a big comic book fan, but I think a quick backstory though is I'm from Jersey and grew up very passionate about sequential art and music is kind of like two things that I just really love. Grew up in a Christian conservative home, so sometimes some of those things are very limited as to what I was allowed to listen to.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times I was going and like, I go to Sam Goody, and I remember one of my first cassette tapes was like Tone Loc, and that's one that I had to hide, from the folks and stuff like that, and but
That's funny.
But really like pop culture as a kid, and kind of slowly stumbled and found myself in Los Angeles in my late 20s, and just went at it and just started grinding and kind of just took any job that I could, and I started out in live action and had a lot of fun there and was able to kind of just meet some interesting talent.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what job you do, you get to kind of rub shoulders and bump elbows with a lot of interesting people. So, as a PA working on his set, I got to meet Dan Castellaneta, the guy who did the voice of Homer Simpson.
Yeah.
Kevin Spacey. Getting him a Big Mac at 3:00 in the morning. Just fun when you're on the bottom tier at some of these shows. You get to do some really interesting things. So, was in live action for about 10 years, and then from there kind of stumbled and fell on my face into animation, and that's where I am now.
Awesome.
Right on. That's funny that you mentioned being I'm from Florida, so growing up, I definitely grew up in a Christian conservative type household. But yeah, you weren't allowed to listen to Tone Loc. I remember my uncle Daryl. He helped me hide, I helped him hide a Garth Brooks CD because he didn't want my grandma to find out he was listening to Garth Brooks, which is just so ridiculous in the first place.
Look out.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Dude,
My baby's a Chippewa.
I don't know if I'm overstepping lines here, but you're kind of dating yourself with the Tone Loc comment.
That's right, man.
You're a 70s kid or 80s kid?
70s.
70s. Awesome. Same here.
Okay. I was born in 75.
74.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And a lot of people, what a lot of people call the 90s, are really kind of like the late 80s, early 90s to me. But a lot of ways I feel like a 90s kid because that was my I graduated high school in '93, so it's like, what people call the '90s, I was like 16, 17, 18, just, romping through all that stuff. So it's, I know like the late '80s, early '90s really well.
Yeah, dude. Like, I mean, I was raised Catholic, so you could imagine. Like, I live in Latin America, so to me, like, hiding records was hiding Iron Maiden, hiding Soundgarden records, hiding like Nirvana. Like, I'm more of a rock and roll kind of guy. So yeah, that was.
It's so funny, man, because it's like it's just different. I think different things happen culturally to different people, because it's like, I don't know that I don't have kids, but I don't know that as a Christian father, I'm going to be, I'm going to be like, yo, tell me what the new music is. Like,
exactly.
But there's different things that they might be, have fear about. Oh, my dad's not going to like this, but it's, so generationally, maybe things change, but it's just like these pop culture items we as kids felt like.
Yeah. Exactly.
But that was kind of the message in the church, it was like, no dancing, and we're like, but wait, why does it say no dancing when the Bible's like, yo, we're going to be dancing in heaven, So it's just like,
I think there is a line, like,
the whole
if I don't have kids.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was gonna say I don't have kids, but like Cardi B today, if I had a daughter, I mean, I'm not sure that I would want her sort of listening to that. I mean, I don't know that I'd be like, you can't listen to it, not
right.
The classic, but I think I would try to maybe have a conversation with them and be like, why is this interesting to you?
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, dude, I like Cardi B, but I'm also 45, and I understand the context that it fits in. But I think we're getting way off subject from our animation and stuff like that. But,
no, it's all right.
But I think
perfectly fine.
I think a classic example is actually behind me over here, on the wall over here, way back. It's an uncut sheet of like season 4, series 4 Garbage Pail Kids.
Oh, awesome! That was a big problem back in the day.
So that was a huge problem. But I think is that I think kids, to a point, we only see the fun in a lot of this stuff. Cardi B and different things like that. I think a lot of this stuff, if there are bad lyrics and if you can hear them, that's one thing. But the Garbage Pail Kids were so fun, But looking at them now, I understand why parents didn't like them. It's a baby sticking a sword into his face and it's coming out the backside. It's a baby like holding a noose on his own neck, and like, so I get like, dude, these are messed up,
Yeah.
But as a kid, they're like, they were just nothing. It was only fun, and it was like, oh my gosh, look at this good kid,
Yeah.
And
do you remember those books, like Choose Your Own Adventure books?
Yeah, I love them.
Dude, like the gory deaths. Dude, like go to page 49, like, and you fall in a vat of acid.
So, dude, I was just terrible at reading, and I think Choose Your Own Adventure, kind of looking back, it shows kind of like, I think we're some of the first instant success generation, where it's like, yo, like, where is it? The people now, when they text you and like 2 minutes later, like, hello, where's my thing?
Yeah, exactly.
The way that I read Choose Your Own Adventure, I was like, all right, where's the best ending? Like, I would find it in the best, and I'd be like, all right, and I would read the book backwards. I'd like, oh, okay, so like turn to, I'd be like trying to figure out, like, it's so dumb, but I'm like, but it's like I knew I couldn't. It was weird. It's like I knew I couldn't read the best adventure on my own, so I had to kind of like try to figure it out, because I was like, oh, okay, jump off the edge towards the spikes, you die. Like, oh shit, yeah, of course. Well, let me start over.
Yeah. I mean, but reading those books, I remember as a kid that was scary.
Yeah.
And I think it's one of the first like interactive, adventures. This is before video games. Because but by that time you had like Pong, maybe Atari 2600 was out, so the games didn't really carry a story. So video games was something else. But like, aside from comic books, like comic books were telling you a story, and D&D was also very satanic. Like nobody should be playing D&D. So Choose Your Own Adventure to me was like the introduction to the whole like interactive adventure.
Cool.
But it was scary.
That's cool.
It was scary because you don't know where, and the book is talking to you, like you're not following a character. You
Cool,
are
man.
the one in the book. So I don't know. Like that always
awesome.
stuck with me.
Yeah, I didn't have the same. I didn't have this. I just had no patience, man. So I'm like, oh, the cover looks cool.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I'd be like, read like page, you die. Like, mother.
Yeah.
All right, you know, but
Awesome.
So let me hop in here for a sec. So Davey, what animation, what TV shows, what cartoons did you grow up on? You know, like specifically the stuff that really stands out to you.
I mean, the stuff I grew up on, and it's, you know, not necessarily, you know, my bread and butter pop culture, but the stuff I grew up on was probably really G.I. Joe and Transformers.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
oh, cool.
You know, it's like racing home from school, trying to like, it was crazy. I mean, I think for me, and like the school bell would ring at 3:00, and it was like G.I. Joe started at 3:00.
Oh,
damn it!
Oh.
So it was like, bro, we got to get home. You know, so it was like my little brother, and then like Brian Emerson and maybe John Bonin, who are they were a year older than me, but we all lived we walked to school, across the train tracks, that kind of thing. We put pennies on it was like Stand By Me. I had a great childhood.
Awesome.
Put pennies on the train tracks before school. On the way home, you're like, oh, where are you looking for them? And you find they're all mashed, you know, all flattened out and everything. But yeah, dude, it was racing home trying to see that. And then it was Ninja Turtles is kind of a little bit later. I was kind of already, I liked it, but it's kind of a little, what I liked about Ninja Turtles, it was just every episode was a new figure, you know. He-Man too, like He-Man. I liked He-Man. Like it was weird. I had all these toys, but the ones that I really liked was G.I. Joe figures. I mean, just the line, like the ensemble and and they just, the size and all the accessories, and man, you could put a gun in their hand, and some people had a helmet that could come off. I mean, I just thought that was so cool.
Yeah, out of the license era animation, maybe that's how my brain works. But I always was more into like the shows that didn't do that well, like Visionaries or like Galaxy Rangers. You know, like I was, yeah. I mean, I got off of school at 1, so I had like the perfect, like when I got from school, like there were still like novellas on, like, you know, like Latin American soaps, and the comic strips started at 3. So you will be like in your underwear, like having something to eat, and just watching, like obviously G.I. Joe, Ninja Turtles, He-Man. I stopped watching He-Man because of the Fisto episode. I remember it clearly, like Fisto just like, oh, this looks wrong. Yeah, do you remember
interesting
that
name?
I remember.
No, Fisto had like a huge fist.
Yeah.
And he trapped people in white goo. And that to me was like, oh, okay, this is no. But then you had like Silverhawks, Tiger Sharks, Thundercats, like
I remember liking a lot of those on the surface. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I watched all of them. Yeah, and then, dude, it's so ridiculous. Like, just not ever growing up. It was like, I ended up going to school in Nashville, Tennessee, a school called Belmont University, and I initially wanted to get into music, like audio engineering, and that kind of stuff. And I'm a stoner in Nashville, and one day I stumble on Beast Wars, this like and computer animated, and I'm like, they're doing some throwbacks to the original. So dude, it's like you know, there's like a party like, you know, Friday night, and I'm like, hey, I'll see you guys later. What are you doing? Well, I'm just gonna go set my VCR because Beast Wars is coming out at like 6 a.m. And dude, it's like, you know, but the story in that it just was serialized, and I just couldn't believe how like the drama come, you know, these like little cartoon rat robots and.
Yeah, but Beast Wars came in like mid 90s, right?
Yeah, I think it was like 96.
96.
Maybe Mainframe Entertainment. I remember a lot of. I mean.
Yeah.
So I'm on the production side of things. Okay, so it's like, so like yeah, I'm very interested in like the credits and who does stuff. So I really like music growing up, but I didn't have Spotify and these different things where you could go, oh, hey, I can just, type in a band that I like, and then it just spits out all this other stuff that's similar. Like, that's cheating to me. Like, I'm like, no, you have to go. Like, I remember going to the record store and just being like, you know what? Like, I have no idea what this band is, but I know I'm going to like it based on the cover. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And I don't know that I had, it's not like, freaking, disposable income. I can buy, CDs.
Yeah.
I remember doing that, being like, or it would be like a band that I was into, Guns N' Roses, Metallica, 311 in the 90s and stuff. I would just read the liner notes. Like, I would flip that thing open and pass the lyrics in the back, and it would be like, special thanks. And some of these bands would like list other bands that they played with. And I would write them all down, and I would go to the store and be like, try to find the CDs. I would just buy them. I'm like, I'm like, these guys hang out with the band that I like. I know it's gonna be good.
Yeah, that's how I discovered Snot. I don't know if you remember that band. They made one record, and the singer died in a bike accident. But
Dude, I think they have a song called Snot too, and it's great.
Yeah,
yeah. I remember those guys.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I saw in the 311, the Sublime album, they were like doing a shout out to Snot. Like, okay, who are these guys? So I completely get it. Like, and it's pre-internet. Like, that's how you discovered music.
But it's like, but when you found it, it was like, it was yours.
Yeah,
was
exactly.
Like, it was kind of like you discovered it, and it's like, so I had this weird thing now, and it's like, it's not good, but it's like when people want to show me something, like, oh, you're gonna love this. I'm like, no, I won't.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to find it. I a lot of things I need to find it, and when somebody gives it to me, I'm like, I don't feel like I earned it in a way, or it's like, it's weird, or it's like, nah, like, or like, yeah, you're right, but I'm not ready for it. I need to go. I need to pretend that I found it. I don't know. It's weird. It's this ego.
No, it's more of a reward thing. Like, you feel you didn't work for it. You didn't work for it. So okay.
Yes.
Another question I have, and this is more regarding to animation. Like, when because most of comic book fans like really love the series of the 80s, but they were all like tied to licenses. Like, what toys can we sell out of this? There's this phenomenon, like, animators called the Renaissance of animation, that started with Ralph Bakshi's Mighty Mouse, where animation were not tied to a toy line, and it became way more creative. For example, like Cow and Chicken, or like Dexter's Lab, and like the character design stopped looking like toys. You know what I mean? So I don't know, where were you in that time? And we're talking like 89 and onwards.
Yeah, tough call. Like 89. So my older brother Jeff got me into comic books.
Okay.
And I'm like 6,000 comic books later.
Okay.
One day I'm reading them, and I'm like, I don't even know if I like comic books. I'm like, I think I just like these because I'm trying to connect with my brother.
I see.
Because dude, he did this thing where it was like, we would go to, like, he was into Spider-Man, and then he would go to Ridgewood. My mom would let us get on the train and go 3, 4, 5 towns away as kids.
Right on.
Get some books and come back. But to me, like, he used to go with his friend, and one day I was like, hey, do you want to come? Can you? I was like, holy shit, yeah, I want to fucking go. And he's like, was able to go on the train, and I came back with my own book. And then he had a tape recorder, and he was like, dude, let's read Spider-Man. He's like, I'll be Spider-Man, and you read the bad guy. So we would record, do basically a soundtrack, right?
Yeah.
So, but just having this moment with my big brother. Oh, Spider-Man, look out! Here comes Silvermane. This old, I remember, like, that was the villain that we did that day, and I think part of me is like, wait, am I just trying to recapture that moment as a kid?
Yeah.
Not realizing it. Oh, I love Spider-Man, and then but reading, I'm going, oh wait, shit! I think I'm just trying to
Yeah. It's just like doing like an old-timey radio show. Like,
yeah, it was really cool. But I fell in love with just sequential art, whether it's comic book, whether it's a film.
Yeah.
Because when you look at a film, it's frame by frame. It's
Yeah.
you line that up. It's sequential art. It's a comic book. But story and all that, I love it. I love it.
Awesome.
Okay, that's a great segue into comic books, actually, since it's partially what we're here to talk about today. So Davey, could you tell us a little bit about your project you got coming up?
Yeah, what's the I'm gonna try to what's the Shane Davis little girl big adventure?
Oh, nice. The Shane Davis did history yesterday with her whole sumo stream.
Three kids in a rock band taking down an evil corporation.
Oh, I love it.
All right.
Yeah, it's like I don't like to do the whole like corporations are evil type thing, but essentially it's I've got three kids who are passionate about art, who don't really understand capitalism, all that, not that any of this is bad, but passionate about art, who are just trying to make music. And there's a local scene. There's an evil institution that kind of runs everything with the town. They own the bank, they own the venue, and they have their own band.
Oh, okay, nice.
And right, so everybody loves this other band. This evil band is called Gleemo. Gleemo.
Gleemo.
It's just a silly name that I was using it, and I'm like, it was actually just a throwaway name. Things just come to me and I just use them.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'm like, shoot, I gotta write this thing now, because a lot of times like my first draft is just what it is. It just works for me, and it's just kind of silly and fun. And I had Gleemo, and I'm like, man, I gotta have a cool evil band name. And one day somebody came over and was just like, oh dude, this Gleemo thing is so funny, it's awesome, da 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 da. I was, really? He's like, yeah, Gleemo. I'm like, yeah, that's the name I gave it, pretended it was, but I guess that kind of what spawned it, Pedro, was, and I'll try to put it into a little bit more modern terms. But it's like, imagine the three of us are hanging out, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, and we're sitting around, we're going, dude, this music on the radio sucks, right? Yeah. We've got Justin Bieber, we've got Taylor Swift, we've got Cardi B, we've just got this kind of manufactured music it's bouncy and it's fun and it's Ariana Grande. It sucks. It's not like, it's not cool grunge. It's not cool, but
it doesn't connect.
Everybody, but the thing is, everybody that we know, all of our friends, our parents, everybody that we know says that this music sucks. So this music sucks so bad. Why is it the most popular thing on the radio?
Yeah.
So that's the dilemma. They're going, what the heck is going on here? And they think something sinister is going on, and it turns out that they're right.
Yeah.
So they're kind of just, have the very passionate. They have their own music, and it's all of a sudden something else is kind of like, hey, we want that. You need to give that to us. You shouldn't be doing that. That's ours. And they're like, well, what? So they're kind of trying to rebel against that. And so up here the image you got right there. So that's kind of the world in a nutshell. This is going to be my wraparound cover. So the image on the right will be our band and our three kids. So in the top right there. So you guys are seeing some pre-production that I'm going to have to try to figure out already in post. But I've changed the color of the three kids already, and you'll kind of see a different image. But in the top right there, I've got Clive, who kind of looks like that green Frankenstein dude. Just below him is a World of Warcraft reference. This kid's name is his name is Whammo. And then you have the little kid in the front. That's CJ. Now you kind of look at him, and it's like bluish demon dude, green Frankenstein guy, blue ghost, right?
Cool.
So my thing is like, it kind of started out as this monster world, and I'm going, dude, I really want to do my own thing. I want to be weird. I want to be creative. I want to be original. I got to get away from these monsters, right? So I don't want you to look at this kid and go like, oh, Dracula.
Yeah.
I don't want you to look at that guy and go, oh, Frankenstein. So it's kind of a fun dilemma, but I'm going, you know what? I'm changing all of these kids' colors because I don't want it to be because at one point in an early draft, I actually had the little kid. I actually had him. He was more of a vampire, right?
Yeah.
In the early draft, that little kid, he's like, all right, hey, I'll see you kids later. I'm going home to watch cartoons, and he turned into a bat and flew away.
Okay.
There isn't any lead up to that saying like, oh, I can do this thing. It's just, as a reader, we're all familiar with vampires, right?
Yeah.
If you had the book, you wouldn't have batted an eyelash at it. You'd have been like, oh, turn into a bat. He must be a little vampire. But it's based on all this other lore that's not my world. So I said, dude, I got to get rid of that. If I want this kid to turn into a bat, I need my own thing. Yeah. So this is what they look like now.
Oh, dude, love it.
So and now you look at them, and you're not going to tell me Frankenstein, Dracula, Ghost. No. You're going to tell me weird clay guy, rad little gremlin dude, and like avocado goo boy.
Yeah.
So he doesn't even look like a ghost to me anymore. He looks like more solid, like he could be made out of goo, right?
Yeah, dude. You know what I really, really like? The color palette you're
Tell me, Pedro, tell me.
Yeah, the color palette you're choosing makes them very, very, approachable.
Well, what's interesting, Pedro, is I actually chose the colors for these guys, and like the dude in the middle, it's from nature. It's like a chrysanthemum or something. It's a plant. It's
like an eggplant. Like it looks something like very natural.
It is
something you can. Wow, dude.
So even though these colors look kind of like they shouldn't be together, this weird green and this pink, they actually work. That those colors sit together from nature. So I actually just found a plant and I went dot 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 dot, and I chose.
Nice.
And think, dude, the dude on the right, it's an avocado. So it literally is an avocado. So it's that. The green from the inside, that yellow by the brown,
nice.
And it was on a pink background. So
and the pants are the seed. So yeah, I like it.
I mean, dude, so it's like so the color scheme, it actually works because it works in nature. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Oh, yeah. Perfect sense.
And it's just kind of like it was kind of a happy accident. You know what I mean? I'm like, shoot, I gotta make this kid not look like a freaking vampire kid.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna go for it's rad. It's supposed to be rad. So I'm like, hey, let's just go for it. Let's give him a pink face and green hair. And that was a tough decision for me, but it was also like, screw it. It's just, I'm not sure if it works, but it's just different. So I'm doing it.
It's working, man.
Yeah, I like both versions. I like this version. I think pulling from colors that are naturally you find together in nature, even if it's rare. I mean, there is something soothing about the contrast to me. I do like it. So I mean. Yeah, maybe just because you'd seen him the other way before I don't know if you're still having trouble seeing him this way, but I think standing out, for better or worse, honestly, it's I don't think it's really all the end of the world. I'd say, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, and the things I see him now, and I don't think vampire. Like on the other one when he was blue, like I was making the connection in my mind, like okay,
yeah, dude, it's
Nosferatu-ish thing. Right now, it could be anything. It could be like a goblin.
Cool. I appreciate that. And that's what I'm trying to do, man. That's what I'm trying to do.
Awesome job, man.
Okay. So are you drawing the whole book yourself as well? Writing?
I've hired an illustrator. So when I was working on Rick and Morty on season 5, I was the associate producer of Rick and Morty. Had a great time doing that. Season 4 as a production manager. I started over there at season 3. So what happened is I've been working on this thing for a while, so I wrote and drew like a 32-page full color comic that had my dude turning into a bat. Just kind of, I'm like, you know what? I want to make a comic book. It's just that's what I want to do. Yeah. I like comics, and I want to make a freaking comic book. So I'm just like, I'm doing it, and wrote it, drew it, colored it, all this stuff, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to print it. This thing looks like shit. And it has its own charm, and I could pull it up and show it to you, whatever, but I just felt I'm putting this much effort into this thing.
Yeah.
I want to put something out there that looks professional. So even though my story, if the art's not there, people aren't going to flip through the pages and get the story. So I think my story has heart. I think my story is fun, but if the art isn't going to be like, dude, I can't wait to see what the next page is, I don't know that I want to put it out there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how I was feeling. So I'm like, listen, if I'm going to go for it and really go for it, I want to put something out there that's just good, or at least, or maybe that's what I'm saying now. It's like, you know what? My writing's not that great, but the art might disguise that. Let me hire somebody who's better. So
I'd say the pitch is definitely, I mean, it's a book that I'm excited for. The art, I like the art. The setup really actually makes sense. The way I see the characters is they kind of have that classic artistic, naive, they just want to do what they want to do. And I mean, you do kind of make a great point. Everything is kind of all, 2 or 3 radio stations. And it is a curious question. So to put a fictional monster spin on it, I actually think is pretty clever.
Dude, and what you guys are doing with the colors is a hybrid between, like animated show, comic book. Like I like the depth and the gradients you're using, because it still looks cartoony. Cool. But it's giving it that comic book depth that you will not see in an animated show. Cool. So man. It's a very, very cool bridge, man. Very, very cool.
Hey, so Ian cooked happy. So the guys in the cages. So what's happening here? So I'm trying to do some fun music nods. So you've heard of the famous music producer Quincy Jones, right?
Yeah, obviously, yeah.
So this guy here, this guy's name is Frequency Jones.
Nice.
So the reason he's called Frequency Jones is you can kind of see in that lower panel there, he has a transistor radio kind of embedded into his head, and whatever he tunes the station into, he just absorbs that information into his brain. So whatever frequency Jones tunes to, he absorbs that information. So if he turns to the science station, the engineering channel, he's just going to be able to absorb all this information in and just be smart. But the problem is sometimes he'll go to bed, he'll lean back, the dial will spin to the local Mexican comedy station, and he'll wake up, just kind of crazy with all this other information that in his head that he may not necessarily want,
Oh, very
Benvenidos.
Cool.
So he's working on in the top here. He's working on a new invention called the Bop Gun, and the Bop Gun. If you shoot a shitty musician with the Bop Gun, it allows him to create really catchy music.
Nice. Dude,
So
I love the fact that the brain has like melty eyes.
Oh yeah.
That's already telling a story right there. I want to give a shout out to Ian. How you doing, man? Thanks for tuning in. Like, dude, this guy was my student a couple of years back.
Oh, cool.
He's an awesome artist on his own right. He's making comic books. I think he's living in Wales.
Cool, man.
But you can correct me, Ian. I don't know where you are. Keep at it, man. Keep at it.
Hey, So Ian, the guys in the cages. So those are creatives or dudes who have creative energy, and this evil institution. They'll kind of kidnap people off the street, throw them in these cages, suck their creative energy out, put it into the Bop Gun, and then you shoot people, and
Wow, awesome.
So I definitely get a lot of sort of I guess Rick and Morty feel with the sense of humor. Could you talk a little bit about writing it, just in terms of like how you came up with the jokes? Do you find yourself naturally pulling to that kind of style of work? I mean, maybe it would make sense since you worked on the show that you find that kind of sense of humor funny. I also like the show, so I mean, I think you're in a good spot with that style of sense of humor, trying to do it in a comic book.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. I don't know how much Rick. I think anything that would kind of relate to Rick and Morty would be kind of more maybe the Justin Roiland-y part of it, because like the band's name is Gleemo. Right. Just it's kind of like on Rick and Morty, like there's just kind of like some of the weird stuff that would happen. I think that's kind of. Maybe Pedro, you have some of it in you, but it's like I think some of it's just from the 90s.
Yeah,
from I think a lot, like I tell people, I think a lot of humor today, and it's kind of coming out of it. Maybe it's more like 2010, but so much of our humor today is based on like Homer Simpson and the Tom Green Show.
Yeah,
it's just like Tom Green does just like these short, like kind of in your face, like whoa, I've got hair on a microphone, like dumb shit that was funny.
Yeah.
And then you had Homer just doing all these like fantasy, like, ooh, I wonder if, and it's like, and so, like our Old Spice commercials and
Right.
like that. Those commercials today are based on that type of humor from late
and
80s, early 90s, and
like you had shows like Rocko's Modern Life, for example, that had this like surreal, like kind of sense of humor to them. Like,
I missed all of that stuff. So I missed all of that stuff. And Rick and Morty, it's like Rick and Morty's too smart for me now. You know, it's like, so it's like the comparison doesn't almost. I'm like, oh, that's a compliment. Like, oh shit, but like my writing is not that at all. My writing is really simple. My writing is just like, hey, I'm hungry. Well, let's go get food. You know, so I'm. Who knows what this book is going to do? So it's like, I think the art, right?
The art's talking.
But people who have come onto the project, this guy Jake who did art on Rick and Morty, this guy Justin who helped me with my character designs, another Rick and Morty guy, this dude who's doing the paint on it, his name is Josh. He's worked on Beast Wars and a lot of other projects. So I have the thing that's helping me out is like, man, I've got this really dumb project with these dumb characters and this bad writing, and everybody I show it to is like, dude, this is cool, man. I want to be like, I love it. So the feedback that I'm getting from other people encourages me.
Dude, who's the girl with the crazy hair?
That's Ula. That's CJ's little sister, and her hair is alive. It's kind of like it's a monster. It's like, so I'm trying to just like some of these designs too. I'm coming up with it. You know, you've heard the phrase "hat on a hat," like hat on a hat on a hat. It's like, hey, bro, you look good with the hat on. You know, you don't need all these other accessories. Just bring it down a little bit. So like, she was starting to get hat on a hat, where it's like, okay, she's already interesting, and she has this hair that can come to life and just, you know, mess you up if you know. I want to do this thing where it's like she's really powerful, so don't mess with her, and she's like wise beyond her years, but then she's got this little barrette on her head. It's like this, so it's like in my version, that thing could like talk and comment, you know, but I'm like, man, I got to get rid of that, I think. And
it will overcomplicate things. Yes,
it's a lot, but it's been working, you know.
No, like the character designs are very, very appealing, man. And the thing is, like, you know, you're doing a good job with your character design if people see them and start asking questions.
Oh, cool.
That means they're interesting. Like, for example, like that's like a professor kind of figure, like a father, like
so that's their dad, and the mom is out of the picture right now. The implication is that maybe she's been killed or she's buried, or we don't know, but the kids actually think their dad had something to do with it. So there's a weird relationship between the kids and the dad right now.
Wow.
Interesting.
That's not simple.
Yeah.
That's not like we're hungry, let's get some food. So basically there's this like weird dynamic, like we don't know if the father is a villain or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's
the story.
Yeah, and because it's a fun, lighthearted book, but it's like, I mean, that's just kind of in the background, and maybe we'll get there. But for like right now, it's like, hey, let's try and take down Glimo.
Yeah, no, but the thing is, like a situation like that will lead on to moments.
Yeah,
that's I don't know, like the producer in me is seeing like the father saying things to the kid, and then there's like a change in lighting. Like a very underlit thing, and then like come back to normal. Like, hey, what happened? Like nothing.
Yeah, I've got ideas for all of it, Pedro. I do.
Dude.
Like,
awesome,
I want to do like Archie comics. You know what I mean? And just have drama. You know? And because I've got these kids, and even this kid on the top. You know, these are the bad guys, but you know, I want to go. Well, how did they get there?
Yeah.
So this punk ass kid who's at the top, this little short guy. So the thing about Glimo too is they don't have a drummer.
Exactly. You know? That's what I was gonna say. Like, hey, I hate them already because I see no drums.
Yeah, so they do. Wow. So the guy in the middle, he's like, you know, they do like digital drum beats. You know what I mean?
Oh no.
You know, but it's like Daft Punk or something. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
But you're picking up on that. That's kind of what I'm trying to do. You know, it's like the Doors didn't have it. Remember, like the Doors didn't have a bass player.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's people knock them. People be like, oh, you know, the Doors didn't have a bass player. It was like, no, that's because they had Ray Manzarek.
Yeah,
and that's how good he was. You know, but But you're picking up, and that's kind of like, yeah, these guys don't have a drummer. They're synth and they're kind of cheesy. But this kid on top, it's like, man, the more I think about him, but the problem is I got to get issue 1 out, so his backstory, it's like issue 4. Be like, oh, like I tried, I wanted to be a rocker, but I kind of sold out at a young age, because I wanted the fame and success before and I wanted to put that in there. Maybe he sees the kids down the road having success and go, man, maybe I should try. Did I pick the right? So I want to do all that, it's not just, hey, I'm just bad for bad, But,
yeah, exactly. That will be given more dimension.
But I do also. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, but I do also want it to be. But if someone says, "Hey, what's the comic about?" It's good guys versus bad guys. Yeah. I want to get back to that because it is, a lot of the kids today. I don't know what it is, what it's like, but on the outside looking in, the villains that we grew up with are now misunderstood. Yeah, and exactly. I think that paints a different and not a good picture. Where it's, I think sometimes there is just bad stuff in the world, and you need some kind of face and different kind of media to call it that. So, so when this is my own, who knows? But it's like, you have someone talking about Maleficent. You have the mom going, "Oh, she was evil," and then the kid going, "Well, no, actually, yeah, and you can't blame the kid. But I don't like this going back and changing and.
Yeah, like the thing is, like when you make people empathize with the antagonist, the protagonist loses strength, and that's something that we're losing with storytelling because we want to understand everybody. Yeah, and the thing is that with your antagonist, this kid, like it would be a really nice side story of like how the beast is warm, but it's gonna shoo you in and spit you out. Yeah, kind of situation. So he's bad because. He has his reasons, like they're not altruistic reasons. He wants to be famous. He wants like the accolades, but he allows himself to be a part of the beast. That's a great story, but I don't think it's not a great first story.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, you just establish him as just like an asshole that is just out to take out these guys who he really wants to be. Like I mean, just from the pictures you're telling me, like I'm getting all these things. I might be wrong, No,
yeah, but also too, and I think to just kind of bounce around on our story, I think that to go, hey, he was this jerk and he wanted this thing, and we kind of learn about him. But I think the trend now is hey, let's just abandon our good characters. Yeah, and let's just only have it about him, and let's just make him good and go no. So one of the things too, I kind of wanted something. Hey, what's your book about? Good guys versus bad guys.
Yeah, exactly. We have to go back to simple storytelling because that's what really connects. Like a good Captain American story before Brubaker, when they become with all the spy stuff. That's the Captain America I like. Yeah, it was a simple story. This guy's good, this guy's bad. Someone's getting punched. So dude, bring on the soda and the.
Pedro, dude. So. I liked all the Serpent Society stuff, and it was another thing, but it was like my brother. It was again my brother. Mm-hmm. Oh, do you remember? He's like, remember when Captain America decapitated Baron Blood? I'm like, no, that's not. No. So I went back and I read this Captain America stuff, and I'm going, dude, these stories are so fun. There's this lame character called Porcupine Man. Yeah, I'm reading this book. I'm about to shed a tear for Porcupine Man because it's like Captain America is like. Porcupine Man is like, yo, I don't want to do this anymore, and Cap is like, well, hey, listen, I'm trying to stop the Serpent Society, so I'm gonna you go stand over there and pretend to do something. I'm gonna stand over here, Porcupine Man ends up getting killed because of Captain America. Like he's like, help, I'm doing the thing you told me to do, but it's just like I'm trying. He gets killed. He's the only non-Avenger buried. And Avengers, Porcupine Man has a gravestone on the Avengers property because Cap is like, hey, he gave his life for us and he changed. I'm over here being like, Porcupine Man.
Yeah, but that's a powerful story. You know what I mean?
It was great. The story was great.
Yeah, that would make for like any sort of war movie today, just like a non-special forces soldier giving his life, or a non-combat soldier, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Totally. Or like it would be a bad guy. So it would be a Nazi, sympathizer who said who said, you know what? I don't want to be this anymore. I want to help the Jews, and
Yeah, that kind of story. And the things like that's awesome, but the things like the evil is properly defined. When evil is properly defined, the antagonist and all his sacrifice and all his actions are exalted. But when you have an ambiguous antagonist, then everything is in question, and the story loses. I don't know.
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm kind of struggling with lately is, people say, "Oh, everything happens for a reason," and I don't necessarily know that I believe that anymore. And I do believe that God can work any situation for good, but I don't know that all things happen for a reason. And one of the things I'm thinking that lately, and anyone, hey, just correct my thinking, but there's this woman who was like, she like flew to Boston to be a part of this like orchestra, right? She has her flute and all this stuff, and on the way to the thing, something happened. She can't find her flute. She left it in the taxi. Oh no, where is it? The guy stole it. And 9 years later, she gets it back. Where this guy finally tried to go pawn it off at a pawn shop, and the dude's like, dude, this is weird, and ends up, and she's like, yeah, I lost that, and it ruined my life. It wasn't like, oh, I lost it, and things just happened, and she's like, no, that flute cost like over 10 grand, and I had to borrow someone else's flute, and I got kicked off of the orchestra because I was so bad, and I've been trying to get it back. So people are like, oh, like this guy stole it 10 years ago. Like he probably needed money. And like, no, he was devious. He was devious. And I think, there's a lot of people out there who are trying to do good things. And unfortunately, there are people who can just throw a wrench in that, and it's, and then God isn't just going to go like, I'll fix it. These bad things happen, and we have to, sometimes move on and figure it out. And that's kind of some of the things I'm dealing with, and kind of want to put some of that in this story, where it's just there are people who are just jerks out there, and we don't necessarily know why. And maybe this flute thing will work out eventually, but she's not happy about it. Like she got it 10 years later. She's going, well, I want something to happen to this guy because he messed my life up. I don't want it to just be done. Like I think he should. Somebody needs to atone for the fact that
exactly like the things like the whole concept of atonement, it's very uncomfortable.
It is,
because atonement akin to responsibility, akin to facing your demons, and some people just feel not like doing that, especially lately. And I don't know, it has to do with education, and it's worldwide. Like,
my thing is, even a lot of. If you start getting into that, and you're talking about some of the biblical stuff, it does get scary. And, the Bible says that Jesus Christ, he was the perfect atonement. He already took care of that, but you have to do our things, believe, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But me, who's always skirting the fence going, oh yeah, I believe, but even the demons believe, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So where am I in all of this and all of that? And I have my things that I do, even just being a stoner, dude, and there's consequences to everything, right?
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. And we make decisions, like taking a deterministic stance, like, okay, everything happens for a reason. It's just being deterministic. Like I have no agency because things are going to happen no matter what I decide. I think it's a cop-out.
Right.
So yeah, dude, like I mean, this got dark a little bit. So let's go back to the book, dude. Like I'm really like,
yeah. Well, Ian has something to say here. Catching a lot of themes here, but I think this drive to explore every character's empathic story is a bleed through of digital culture that loves to overanalyze and empathize with everything. Yeah. I actually completely agree with that. I think a lot of this trying to write a deeper story for the villain is, I think a lot of it is like a writer's vanity, like trying to put a cool, deep, dark spin on a character. So people are like, ooh, wow, that was good. But there's just so much of that. It's like, it's totally lost the point of even making a character interesting in the first place, and also justifying their villainy. That's you can't you lose the point of it when they're like okay because they're villains. It's like, well, we understand why. It's like, yes, and
And yeah,
Hey, does some of it, like the new writing, does some of it come from, because some of the generation below me, a lot of it was well, my opinion. It's my opinion, Matt. It's my opinion. Well, it's my opinion that and then people have these truths inside of them and these beliefs that they want to come out, but I think it's your opinion, but nobody cares.
Yeah, exactly. Like the things like opinions will explode in the face of facts. So,
but it's your opinion, but it's only your opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think that some of it though, but I think that kind of bleeds out though. It's everyone feels that they should be heard, and it's like, oh, my, and I think that's almost coming in the writing. All these characters, I might be, I'm touching on something. I'm touching on something I can't really explain, but I almost think there's something there where it's like.
No, the thing is, like, I mean, I think our job as storytellers is just work with what's, at least the way I see it. I work with things that are comfortable, that I can handle. And this, like, explaining the motives of a villain and making empathize, to me, it's in the detriment of the story. And that's as far as I take it. Like the stories I'm gonna tell are gonna have very defined characters on both sides, and maybe they have their reasons, but their actions are evil, and nothing is gonna mitigate the fact that actions are evil. So, and I guess that's my joint. And we all as artists should just like find where we're comfortable with telling and just tell great stories, because that's what we're all trying to do. People are trying to, I don't know, like this feeling to fix the world. It's getting into storytelling and into entertainment, and that's valid as long as it's entertaining. When it stops being entertaining, then I'll close the book, I turn off the TV, and I'll go out and chase a chicken because I live in a farm.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I think it was your boy Zach, one of his videos, and I agree with a lot of stuff he says. And I like it when someone can take my thoughts and put words to them.
Yeah.
But he's like, he said, I'm at the point I'm trying to escape from escapism.
Yeah.
Where it's like we used to have a hard day of work. We're going, oh man, I want to stop thinking about life for a minute. Let me turn on the TV and kind of relax. And now, you come home from the hard day's work and TV is telling you you're a bad person,
Oh, dude. I'll just watch it Hercules again.
So he was saying that he's like, one day he was out like cleaning his engine. He's like, I'm not a car guy, but I was just started cleaning. He's like, I just started enjoying. So he's like, I now need to escape from escapism. I need to go to do something normal to get away from pop culture, because pop culture is now telling me that I need to vote a certain way, need to look a certain way, need to act a certain way.
Yeah. And I have to like everybody, and everybody has to like me, which is an impossible task too. I mean, people are putting a lot of pressure because we all see stuff that like pisses us off.
Yeah.
And so it's not nice, but it's true. Or maybe I'm a curmudgeon. Like I'm already 47.
You are.
So I'm showing old age. I don't know, but right now, I have no patience for some people.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate enough where most of my interactions are, hey, how's it going?
Exactly.
I can be nice, but I've found that it's hard. It's hard to be nice. But also like my there's certain things that I'm dealing with, but my genuine I think I grew up kind of shy, but my go-to is just like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
Hi. And I'm like, dude, I got it. Like that, it just gets me in trouble, man. I'm going through this stuff where I need to just like, I'm trying to rein in some of my personality. Because a lot of times I feel like, it's like my face is here, but it's like I'm really, hey, how's it going? Hi, how are you? It's like a puppy.
Yeah.
That's jumping up. And I'm going, I need to learn. Let me shake let that be the high. Hey,
Yeah, exactly.
hey, how's it going? What's up? Instead of, but I like being that guy. I like throwing my personality out there. I like greeting people from a distance, but I'm like, dude, it's only getting me into trouble.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, dude. There's like, I mean, I like that the show got this deep, and there's a contrast with your designs, which to me is already amazing. And I don't know, like, are you designing these characters to animate later?
I designed every single character first.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Like I drew them out, and so this guy up here, remember this guy, you can kind of see him on the left. It's kind of faded out on your screen, but he's got his brain sticking out of his head.
Yeah.
Let me believe it.
Oh, you're gonna show the.
Oh, if you pull up that one cover,
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah. Let's go back to this, man. Because this.
So the guy in the bottom left,
Yeah.
that's Chain Brain. He has a chain attached to his brain.
Okay, sorry.
So I mean, but him, dude, like I've got a whole thing with him. So he's kind of like he's the muscle for Glimo. He's the bodyguard. He's the bouncer. He's the security. But he used to have another horn on the other side of his head there, right? But that horn broke off, which left a big hole in his head. And Glimo would say, "Hey, that guy didn't buy a ticket. Kick him out." So Chain Brain would walk over there, but before he had the chain, his brain would sometimes just fall out of his head, go bouncing down the street. He's incapacitated. We got to go find his brain, stick it back in there so he can move around again. So what they did was they let's just put a chain on this thing, put a collar on him. So now when his brain falls out of his head, he still kind of stops and he's incapacitated and he can't move, but we don't have to go looking for it. It's right on his collar. We can just shove it back in there.
Nice.
It's a keychain for his brain, basically.
Exactly.
Dude, I'm getting this like grungy monster vibe, Monster House. Like I don't know, like I know the name of that show in Spanish. There's like Foster House for Monsters or something.
Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends.
Yeah, like I'm getting
Great
like
show.
a little bit of vibes that combined with grunge. And
Okay.
like, I love the tones, man. I love the tones of what, and I'm giving voices to everybody in my head.
Cool, man.
It's
Well,
also very good. Yeah.
So Justin Noel, who's a character designer in Rick and Morty, he did this cover for me. And the art director named Devin Roth is from Final Space. I'm not sure if you've seen that show.
Yes.
worked
Yep.
So Devin did a cover for me as well that I'm holding on to release when I launch.
Dude, I really enjoyed Final Space. Actually, like I've watched. They only have 2 seasons, right? I think.
I think the third one just came out.
Okay, I've only seen 2, and I really enjoyed what I've seen there. Like it's a nice, solid show.
And if you guys want to see this, I can show you my other cover real quick.
Okay,
Dude.
let's do it. Oh,
Yeah.
dude,
Right on.
that's Glimo, right?
That's Glimo's. That's my evil variant wraparound.
Nice.
I like it. Gotta have the Glimo variant.
Yeah,
So that's a good segue into how far. I noticed we're still in pre-launch. Could you talk a little bit about how the production's going and maybe when you expect to launch the book?
Yeah, so it's I don't know what to do, you guys. So it's like there's other people who are the line art's done.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a 48-page full color comic book. I've got like a 35-page story and an 8-page backup story for another Rick and Morty dude. It kind of tells a little origin about how CJ got his first guitar.
nice.
Sweet. That's fun.
Line art's done, colors in progress, but it's like I just had this fear. I don't want to launch the book until it's done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
So,
that's one of the criticisms that indie comic books are getting right now. Like people like back the book, but they have to wait like almost a year to get the book.
Yeah, I don't mind it, but it's that works for the dudes who started.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm not trying to insult anybody here.
No,
all right?
you're not. Don't worry.
Fragaboom, Replicator 3,
Yeah,
Wreck Planet,
yeah.
Cash Grab, especially.
Yeah,
like
Patchwork.
though those books I expect those books to be done already.
Yeah.
And I've been working on mine at the same time that I'm like, mine's gonna be done before you, dude. And it's not a small thing, but I don't, as a first-time creator, I don't have the luxury of an established fan base. And
Exactly.
I don't mean luxury like that. Like Fragaboom earned that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I'm a fan of his, and I don't mind patiently waiting. But part of me is going, where is it, bro?
Yeah, but the thing is, like, and I said, look, we're not like insulting anyone by saying, because I mean, the books are late, but at least like Frege, he told his reasons. He was working on some, I think it was Doom Patrol thing, and he's giving like constant updates of where the book is at.
I have no problem. I have no problem with it. I have no problem with it. But as a first time creator, I don't know that I'm going to be able to deal with the pressure of, hey, where is it, dude?
Exactly.
So these guys have been there and done it. So, but I don't know.
Mhm.
I sometimes if my girlfriend is going, hey, you said you're going to pick me up 5 minutes ago, and I'm going,
Yeah.
what if I have 10 people saying, hey man, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
Yeah.
So I
completely understand. Like, I mean, I'm a first-time creator myself, and I'm coming with my mailing list in December, but my book is already done. Like, I'm doing some editing on it. I'm getting like a letterer, but colors, everything is done on the book.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm waiting on the edits to see what else needs to be done, right, Ginge? And
yeah, well, I'm worried. Like my fear, so I'm just like I'm all paranoid. My fear is like well, then why do you need to crowdfund if it's done? Just put it out there. Let me buy it. Where I'm like,
what people need to understand about crowdfunding is that crowdfunding, it's a new way of marketing because the campaign is an event.
Yeah.
So when people ask me like, why are you going to crowdfund it if you already have it out? Because if I put it out, it might be like a day that I do like a stream, and people would know that the book are out there and it's going to do what it's going to do. But when you do a campaign, you as an not as an artist, because the artist is producing the book, but as a businessman, you have 2 months where you're going to go out and let people know about your book. And that's very important. Right now, it's in the frame of a crowdfunding campaign.
Yeah.
But who knows what it's gonna be? Like a year from now, 2 years from now. Maybe this whole like event, this hyping of your book, will turn into something else. But right now, that's what the campaigns are doing.
Yeah.
It's hype. So when people ask me like, "Oh, this is done. Why didn't you put it out?" Find a solution for the hyping of the book, and I'll put it out right away.
Right. Yeah, and just to backtrack a little bit, it's I don't know when I'm going to launch. I was hoping to launch like June 1st, but like you have hurdles, and not a knock on my guy, but the dude who's doing the paint on my book, he's had his own issues come up and just have stalled things out, and so it's going slow. But I guess two things too is I want to impress.
Yeah.
So I want to go, hey, when your book is launched today, you're going to have in your hands after 60 days.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, wow. Really? Oh, cool. Hey, I just finished reading the book. Where's the second one launched already?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, I'm starting the second one now.
Mm-hmm.
So but it's hard, man, but it's my own, it's my own resources. It's my own.
Yeah.
I'm going, what am I doing, dude? Is this going to,
No, I mean, the art's looking awesome, and dude, you just need to put on your businessman hat, and dude, you're going to be fine. Because I mean, it's quality, and yeah, dude, like, I mean, our stream is fairly small so far, but you just go, on Peter Cimeti's Open Mic Monday, for example. I mean, those kind of shows that are more like, and okay, I'm not knocking everybody right now, but are more like mid-tier. Not so much of like getting on a mailing show or an Ethan show, which is like you need to be invited there. But there are shows that people are watching that are like, let's say, like in the middle of fame within the community. That will definitely help you out and put the project out there.
Cool.
So,
well, yeah, you know, you go through a lot of stuff when you're making the book, and you know, when I first did mine, I'm like, oh, one day, you know, I'm gonna put this out, and then, you know, your boy Zach and Ethan are doing. Started getting really excited. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna do this now.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember for a while, my thought was, if I can just get onto Ethan's show. You know what I mean? And it was like, that was kind of driving. I was kind of getting going the wrong way. It was like, man, if I can get on Ethan's show, because I felt like I was seeing some people, but like, hey, this book, all of a sudden it's $100,000. So all of a sudden, I had like a week, maybe a week to 4 weeks, where it was like, oh, if I could just get on Ethan's show, And then in one day, I just said, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
You need to put out a good book, dude.
Yeah.
So you need to put out a good book that on its own, if somebody is walking down the street and stepped on it and said, oh, what is this? They're going to want to pick it up and flip, even if it's been. Stop thinking about trying to get on Ethan's show, man.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Put out a good book, and if he sees it, he might invite you. But so that was also a struggle for me too. It's worry about yourself and your product and put time into that, and good things will come. Don't. Exactly. Oh, what can I? You know.
Yeah, that's not the way to go, because the things like you end up being annoying if you take that stance, because Ethan doesn't owe anyone anything.
If I could just touch the hem of his garment, right?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I've been on Ethan's shows once, and I kind of blew it, because it was a very somber show. Is what when Trump lost the campaign. So I went there, and he was in a different vibe, and I tried to make him laugh, and I failed, and that was it. You know, so yeah.
Great timing, Pedro.
Yeah, it was amazing. But the thing is, like right now, like getting on Frega's show, like I was invited to Frega's show like last week, and I got smoked by him on the drawing Necron 99 from Wizards, and I don't know, like I've been part of the community for it was August 2020 when I got in, and I just like, hey, be part of the chat. Getting when they were doing like drawing streams, I would draw too, and I would post, and that's how they got to know me. And now I don't want to say like I'm a known quantity, because I mean, who am I? Nothing. I don't even have a book yet, but at least I can speak with the guys.
Cool, yeah.
And in that sense, they're all telling me, hey, dude, let me know when your book is out, because hey, we can come and stream. Like I was not asking for that.
Yeah,
you just do this groundwork before. So they can know you, and then they will have like the goodwill to invite you in. So it's more of let them come to you, not you come to them.
Right, and even the term groundwork, it's fun, you know, being in the chat and hanging out and stuff like that. So I don't even feel like I'm like put any work in, but it is. No. But I posted the other day. I was just in Bancroft's channel, but I was just like, I used to be very active for a while, and then you have stuff come up, and I was like, hey, what's up, chat? And then it was just like orange. It's like everyone. It's like posted, I'm like, man, feeling the love in Bancroft's channel, because all these people I saw like 10 in a row. My name is highlighted.
Yeah.
I don't know any of these people, but they're showing me more love than my freaking neighbors and my coworkers, and Yeah, dude.
Like there's something about this because everybody's hungry for great stories, which is something that I was feeling in my lonesome ever since. I don't know when the Green Lantern after Green Lantern Rebirth, like I stopped reading DC and I stopped reading Marvel because I was not getting what they were trying to do, and there was this feeling of loneliness. Like, okay, it's not in comic books. I'm trying to watch series. I'm trying to watch movies, and it's the same. Like, hey, there's something that's not connecting. As soon as I found this, now I feel like 16 again.
It's funny. That feeling, and I don't know, because I think some of it too, and it was for me. I'm going, oh, I'm just not in a demographic anymore.
Yeah,
right. Because it's nobody, and it's literally, it's not that I'm feeling low in this story. I can't find stories that nobody's marketing shit towards. I'm no longer 18 to 34.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's literally now that I'm 38 and 40, there's nothing for me because nobody wants my dollars.
Yeah.
So it's not that I can't find shit. It's just I'm not in a demographic.
Yeah, exactly. We're supposed to be biting like boats and
Right.
having like dancing girls,
Right.
which is not bad.
Some salsa.
Now that I'm thinking of it. Wow.
But yeah, dude, like some funny things though, man. You know, I used to go to all these cons, and I would bring these, like, I have a blank sketchbook that I would bring to these conventions, and I met Kenneth Rocafort in 2009, and he did a sketch. So I like this. There's this book that I really like called Hunter Killer that Image put out, and he did a character. I met Shane Davis standing in line. So I have a sketchbook. It has a John Malin sketch, a Rocafort sketch, a Shane Davis, all in the same book.
Nice.
And it was like Davis was on Superman at the time, and I remember like he's like, dude, it's funny, like, you know, DC and Marvel, they're just like line up these artists like, hey, you just need to like do whatever the fan wants for an hour, you know. So fans would be like, hey, can you draw me like a sketch of like Superman? And like, sure,
why not?
And dude, I remember hitting up like Shane Davis, dude. I remember, you know, there's just a line, and it's like, and they have to be nice, and hey, can you do a sketch? And he was very nice, but I'm like, hey, can you do a sketch of Superman? He's like, sure. And he's sitting there drawing it, and he's like, you know, and I'm like, he's like, let me just do this pencil sketch of Superman and get to the next one. And I think I'm like, could he maybe be like shooting lasers out of his eyes or something? Yeah, no problem. You know? So funny, dude.
Yeah.
Like I see him, like I was the Shane Davis that I see on that. He's just, yeah, I can do that. and Malin, and when I hit Malin up, he was just, he looked like he wanted to go home that day too. But he was so nice, and he did a sketch of Apocalypse for me, and it's all for free, you know, that these guys are doing it. So
nice.
And he spent 20-30 minutes on a head sketch, and hey, here you go, dude.
Nice, but that's the thing, like, and I mean, I don't want to bash anybody by saying this, but that's being grateful to the customer. You know what I mean? Like, you're at a con, you're there for a reason. People are there to see you because they enjoy your work. So, dude, that's the least you can do as an artist. So, yeah, dude, like, and I don't know if it's like that changes in Twitter. Because, I mean, this whole fighting, like, I really don't want to go into that topic. But, I mean, I just want to highlight that that's how we as artists, that's what we need to do. If we find not a fan, if we find a customer. These guys spend money on what we do, and they can spend it on anything else.
Yeah.
And if they don't buy your comics, hey, you're going to be making fries at McDonald's or something. So, great. You know?
Yeah, I don't think anybody, you know, I don't think people should be disrespectful to each other, and I don't think creators just, you know, have to just take people's stuff, you know, and because I'm one of these people. If you say "f you" to me, I'm going to say "f you" back, you know.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
But that's hard for me is not doing that. You know, I think one of the things in the New Testament is like when the apostles are going out, it's listen, if you go to this town and you tell them about me, Jesus, and they say they want to kick you out, beat you up, whatever, just don't say anything. Just wipe the dirt off yourself, dust off your sandals, and go to a new town. Just don't.
Yeah, exactly. Don't engage.
And that's my what's hard for me right now, because I'm at a point now where I'm kind of done. I don't want to say I'm based.
Yeah,
I had a situation. I don't want to get into it too much because I'm trying to move on, but none of it's COVID related. But I had a situation where towards the end of 2019, my producer on Rick and Morty, who I was very close with, passed away.
Oh,
COVID hit. My older brother passed away. My father passed away. This is all like in the last year. I had stuff happen with friends and things like that where people who I thought were my friends weren't. And you go, man, F this, F everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and I got into it with a dude the other day just over like is nothing. But I was just like, hey, how's it going? And he said something rude. I was like, you know what, F you.
Yeah.
He's like, what? I'm like, Liz, if you want to apologize, I'll be your friend right now. But F you, dude.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it just kind of left it at that. But I'm like, and he was shocked. He was shocked. It's just that someone on the street just said something to him. But I'm like, what?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm no saint. The things like I lived for 6 years in a country where if you behave like that, you get shot. Yes, I lived in Colombia in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what between like the Pablo Escobar thing and bombs and whatever. And you really don't want to be like Mr. Bad Guy on the streets, because there's always somebody who's going to be badder, and he's going to shoot you in the face, and nothing's going to happen.
Right.
So yeah, I learned to temper myself, and the things like, yeah, people have been coming at me for a variety of reasons. It would be business. It would be maybe they don't like the way I think. Maybe they don't like the way I look. Like, I mean, they're gonna say shit, but I know and way deep down, it really has nothing to do with me. It's, dude, your life has taken you to this place that you need to take it out, and you're choosing me. So I don't know. Like, maybe you insult me, but you're gonna go on your merry way, and that problem is still with you. I'm not gonna take it with me.
Yeah. Well, and it kind of, and I don't know how much time you guys were hanging out or whatever, but I'm down to keep talking about what one of the things too. It's like, oh shit, I think I just lost what I was gonna say.
That's all right. It happens.
Yeah. Okay. Oh no, we're having a great talk.
Yeah, we are.
So I guess let's. The show really it's about your book. It's also just about whatever. So I mean, it's we're just hanging out. But
cool.
Yeah. So
yeah, I think some people like an hour, but then they're like, "Hey, let's wrap it." Well, I think on Alejandro, he's got it tight. He's got it down. He's like, "Yo,
yeah." Alejandro is a driver.
Yeah.
So, Davey, what kind of shows were you around for the Adult Swim era, like sort of in their prime before Rick and Morty? Like, what were your top shows you were watching back in the day?
I like Aqua Teens, man.
Aqua Teen.
And
I'm more of a Venture Bros, but Aqua Teen was right up there, dude.
Yeah, like Venture Brothers. It's too smart for me, Venture Brothers, man. It's like my friend, like I'm more of a stoner. Like I need to be spoon fed jokes and hit over the head, and I like visuals and stuff like that. Where, Venture Brothers. Like when I watched it with my friends, I'm like, oh, I understand the appeal. It's more serialized, right? These characters.
Yeah. And if you've seen Johnny Quest, then you'll get all of the jokes.
Yeah,
but you need to see Johnny Quest first.
Yeah,
so that's the thing. Yeah.
I kind of like obnoxious, loud. So I think like Super Jail. I think I liked a lot.
Harvey Birdman. That's a classic.
That one. I don't know if I was into that one as much. No. I like just dumber, louder.
Oh, like Mike Tyson Mysteries.
I like Brack, whatever it was.
Oh, Brack, yeah.
Brack show.
No, I think not even Mike Tyson. Like more like the Mouse, like 12-ounce Mouse or whatever that dumb shit. Mm-hmm. You know what I like? The Netflix show right now, Midnight Gospel.
Yes, the Duncan Trussell.
I haven't seen that one.
Show. Yeah.
So Pedro, check it out. So it's my if you're gonna watch Midnight Gospel, you have to listen first and watch second.
Okay.
Because it's kind of like they're kind of animating a podcast. So the first episode, it's like the visuals are so interesting that you're trying to put a story together, but there's just not really a story there. Okay. It's really more about the conversation than what you're seeing. So it's kind of like the first 3 episodes are kind of just like it's kind of a podcast that's put to animation, and it's they kind of figure out what they're trying to do by I think episode 4, 5, 6. It gets a little bit better where it's the visuals, but it was a little jarring for me at first. I'm kind of what's going on here, but if you're kind of listening first and applying that to what you're seeing, it's better.
Yeah, I just added it to the list, and yeah, dude, I think the character design is appealing, but there's something about like painting the outlines, like they're not really black, but they take like a shade of the color.
Yep.
Lately, that's been jarring me. I don't know why.
Yeah, they call that sometimes they'll call it like self fill or color fill lines.
Yeah, color fill lines. Yeah, and the things like that. That lately, that style of cleanup. It's I don't know.
Yeah,
it's jarring
yeah.
to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's age. I know it. It's age.
Yeah.
You're too old, Pedro.
Yeah, I'm becoming Danny Glover.
So I'm actually pulling up. I'm not sure if we'll get in trouble here, but
What's that?
Harvey Birdman. I'm pulling up the intro from my favorite episode of that show. It's basically just hold on. It's like a parody show of like classic Hanna-Barbera stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember it was funny. It was like Huckleberry Hound is like trying to get him off of like a jaywalking ticket or something.
Yeah. And those Hanna-Barbera shows, like with their original characters, like Huckleberry Hound and Hong Kong Phooey, and dude, like those were very edgy at the time. Because I mean, we also had it as reruns, and they were kind of cheesy. But if you put yourself in the mind frame of when they came out, they were right on the edge, man.
Yeah. Well, it's what's interesting. Those designs are so appealing too as kids, but the reason that they're appealing is because they're so good, and there aren't any tangents. And a lot of people today, it's like Tumblr and Twitter and all these people putting out their quote unquote OCs. They're learning how to draw these cartoon characters by looking at other cartoon characters.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're not going to grow trying to draw that way. The people who draw these cartoon characters, they can already draw like the great masters. They understand anatomy, so you're not going to be able to draw a cartoon character until you understand complex anatomy. You have to be able to simplify that to make it work.
Exactly.
It's form over function, right? So it has to work before it can function properly.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of these designs. So to take Rick and Morty, to take these things into, these are so simple. They're not.
Not really.
You have to take the human form and simplify it. So you have a lot of people who learn how to draw. You have a lot of people who want to get into animation who can draw cartoon characters well, but they have no understanding of anatomy.
Yeah.
So that cartoon character you drew looks just like Garfield. It looks just like Tom and Jerry. It looks just like Rick and Morty. Show me something else. They can't do it. I can copy, but I can't.
No, just move it. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you have Garfield in a 3/4 position. Okay, so now make him lean forward, tilt the head up, and put the hand in for shortening. Like, do that.
Yeah.
And that's how you catch them. Yeah.
Well, even just turn. So a lot of times people have these interesting characters. So I say, well, what does he look like from the back? Show me let me see a 3/4 rear, and it's kind of like a drummer, a really good drummer who has to play on a click track for the first time.
Yeah. Exactly.
So all of a sudden, so when I was in Nashville, Tennessee, and I was working at some, studio doing, 2-inch analog tape, doing some advanced audio engineering, and you have a drummer who's good, all of a sudden the producer is saying, hey, your timing is off.
Yeah.
So what do you mean my timing's off? It's off. So let me put on can you play with the metronome? Can you put on a click track? And then the drummer just can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. Because you're being presented the next level of what you're supposed to do.
Yeah. But all through grade school and high school, everyone was telling me that I'm so great because my beats are awesome and I'm close. But you're in front of the beat, you're a little bit behind the beat, you're not on the beat.
Yeah.
So like you said, to get that next level, it's going so. And you have some being like, you know what? Well, I can't play the click track. I'm just going to do my thing. And to everyone else is in the crowd, it sounds fine. But it's a little off. It's like when people at church, when they get people clapping, like, okay, and it's like you have one guy, guiding them through the first five, and they stop, and then all of a sudden it's like you just hear like
it's horrible. Yeah.
Is there a fix you would tell the drummers? I actually grew up playing drums myself, so I'm just kind of randomly curious now. Is there like a little fix you would give drummers who are having trouble matching the metronome? Anything you'd tell them that would help?
So I don't. I'm not a drummer, but I think I understand some of those things. But it's the first. You're just trying to stay on the one, but it's trying to you learn how to have that click going.
It's
So
practice.
it's focused. So that because it's not a fun, it's not cool. It's tick 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 tick.
Mhm.
So but
Yeah.
you what's hard for this guy, it was, oh, I'm trying to learn something brand new in a room with people staring at me.
Mhm.
The
So-
pressure's on.
So the advice is go home and start working with it. Go home and start working with it.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
And the thing is that with people who have been playing for a long while, like they're really used to like very complicated things. Getting presented like, okay, here's a metronome. You have to start simple.
Mhm.
You can't like, okay, here's a metronome. Let's play "South of Heaven" by Slayer. Like, no. Pick something 440 and start simple. Understand what's really happening, and just develop the ear to follow a click. You know,
and most stuff is like 4/4, right? 3/4, 4/4.
yeah, exactly.
But it's interesting when you go, what is it? Dave Brubeck.
Take five.
Take five. But when you're starting to do 5/5 time,
Mhm.
it's hard to count it because you're going,
Yeah.
okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2,
I'm already
3,
off.
4, 5. Yeah, it's
But the music, so it's just way more advanced music theory than I'm.
yeah. And the thing is, like with take five, if you go several compasses, the count will match a 4/4. But you have to go several compasses to get there. But I mean, we're now talking music theory.
Yes, I know. So I know. So, I mean, in Nashville, there's just crazy music dudes. So
Yeah.
I was working in a pizza restaurant, and there's this dude Toby everyone would bring in their music, and
Mhm.
but one day we're listening to Miles Davis' "Bitches Brew,"
Oh, yeah.
but at one point he went, oh. I was like, what? He's like, dude, there's a like a repeat pattern. He's like, I thought this whole track was just kind of freestyle, but he's like, I found,
yeah,
actually
the pattern. Yeah. I mean, I right now I'm playing with a very like a jazz drummer that's playing metal with us, and he has this affinity to make fills where they don't fit, and make the music bigger. And
they call that. I'm sorry, I was gonna say that's like Baroque, right? The Baroque time period where it was just trying to add notes in between notes, and like the Baroque art, during like the Baroque art, it was like, someone might have just like the generation where it was a pearl, and then Baroque would say pearls upon pearls upon piling up, and just adding all these things that we don't necessarily need them.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, all he says to us, like, guys, keep your count, and it's gonna fit, and it fits if you keep your count.
Yeah.
But that's it's very funny. Like, sometimes you get like you get playing songs, especially when you're playing like jazz or whatever. That's like on 7/5 or something. It's at a time signature that's very intricate. But if you allow the piece to flow, it will match a 4/4. It just does, and it's just, I don't know, like it's the math of the universe or whatever. And once you learn how to count like that, then music theory opens.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff. But yeah, man.
Okay, guys.
We're gonna call it.
Well, I mean,
Right.
yeah, we'll go ahead and wrap up here. We're going to an hour and 30.
Okay.
Yeah, Mr. David Otterby, excuse
Yes,
me.
sir.
I don't want to mess it up again. Thank you, Davey, for coming by. Actually, could I ask you real quick? Could you say a little bit about PumSpak? It's a very interesting name. I'm sure you get asked about it. Could you enlighten us here?
Yeah, you know what? It's a sound effect from a Captain America comic. To me, I like it because it's like it just kind of looks obnoxious. It just looks annoying to me. It's like if someone's just like blorp, or it's something annoying about. It's annoying, but and it kind of started in the chat one day. But it's actually, it kind of works for me for CG in a way. So PumSpak, there was this character called the Scourge, the Scourge, SCOURGE, the Scourge. And it was during the Captain America. It was like the Serpent Society. Like all of a sudden, the Captain America is fighting so and so. Then all of a sudden, you just hear someone like scream off camera, and it was like a villain is dead, right? And there's just a mask on the ground, and it was like, who did this? And it was just like, and it was like a note. It said like the scourge is coming, but the scourge, but his gun, it would be like PumSpak. So it was like a shell that was like an explosive shell. So it'd be like boom, like so it would shoot out, and then the spak would be the explosion. So I would just PumSpak was the sound effect from Scourge's gun. But what happened was, everyone was like, who's the Scourge? Who's the Scourge? We'd be like, oh, it must be the Punisher. Like, so for a couple of issues, you're trying to like there would just be a dead villain and a mask on the ground, and like Scourge is coming, and it's like, man, who is it? At the time, it ended up being kind of a bummer for me because it was like an organization, almost like anonymous. It was just like, hey, there's a couple of us, and we all have masks, and we all work together. But to me, it's almost like now it's like CG. Like the Scourge is like CG. Like we're a force, and we're taking out, you know. But
nice.
But to answer your question, Ginger, it was it's a sound effect from an old Captain America comic book. But I've kind of taken it on as like I have this. It's me now. So I have this character named PumSpak who's going to show up in Unemployed Monsters the next issue, but he's kind of like you're not sure if you can trust this guy. You know, Pumsley Spackwell, I think his name might be.
It's good.
Spackwell.
I like it.
But yeah, it's just I'm like I want to start doing the YouTube thing like you guys are, and I just I wanted to say, hey, my name's Davey, and I go by PumSpak in the chat, and that's going to kind of be my intro. But I want to be PumSpak.
All right, that's awesome. And there's no better way to start, like right before starting your campaign. Yeah, just put your name out there with your channel. That's very important.
Well, I started making a couple videos, just trying to get the feel for it, and I'm like, I don't know what to do, so it's like I don't want to come on. I don't want to be one of these guys and being like, hey, where I'm trying to help find Gabby Petito, or Amber Heard, or just bitching about the comic scene because it's not my thing, and I don't necessarily know it, and I don't want to be complaining about shit. So I'm like, how do I go on there every day? What do I talk about? Like I started working out recently, and I'm like, kind of like that. But I'm like, what do I talk about? Do I talk about concerts that I went to? Do I talk about the news? So for me to do something every day, do I do once a week? It's going to be challenging. So I like playing video games, so we'll see what happens. But
I think for me, it's sorry. So I think for me, it's been finding like my YouTube channel's got a little bit of everything, I guess. Like I started with inking videos, and then I switched to just actual physical drawing stuff. I have draw streams, and then there's the Pedro show. I even have for those that are sort of lurking, I have a couple playlists. I think I have a public music playlist, and then I know I have a comic book business playlist, which I actually update pretty frequently, or just anything that I find useful in terms of any comic book business, be it writing or behind the scenes stuff. I actually post on that playlist, and it is public, and there's like maybe 300 videos just for anybody looking for some info. But
I think I'm thinking like when my book is more substantial and ready to launch or launching, I think that'll really help. I'll have something to talk about. But I guess real quick, I think some of the things that I want to do, and they're lofty goals right now, and I might lower them. But what I want to do is if I can hit 25K, say I want to put stretch goals in there like the old Kickstarter, where it's not all these different tiers. Like, oh, hey, you can back one tier, you can back this. I kind of want it to be, if you back one, you get everything.
Yeah.
So if I can hit, this is just, it might be 10K, it might be 15K, but what in my head right now, if I can hit 25K, I want to print a second book translated in Spanish that comes with it. And that may not be for everybody else, but for being in Los Angeles in the community here. And if I can hit 50K, I want to do a small digest manga version.
A mí me gustaría en español el libro.
¿Dónde?
I mean, if you do a book in Spanish, yo lo leo.
But I want to build these things in so there's incentive to get your friends to buy it. You're going to get more out of it. It's not hey, I added something else that you can go spend money on as well. I want anything that's added, you're gonna get it, and it's not gonna be a sticker. It's not gonna be a trading card. It's gonna be something substantial. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah, I want to recommend you to check out the Kryptonauts campaign.
I did. It's cool. I did.
Yeah, the guys with the 6x6 guys are doing.
Yep. Yeah, it's awesome.
They have really good like add-ons and yeah, it's akin to what you're doing here. Even though they did add like the Polaroid things. So that's the thing. Like, it's not really a trading card; it's a Polaroid, and it has to do with the story because we're talking about cryptids and.
That's cool.
You know, so it's like that's how you get like the whole like blurry picture of the Bigfoot. So I like the fact that they add in lore, and it's not just like, okay, here's another trading card, which can get tired. But I mean, a lot of people enjoy trading cards, so I'm not bashing trading cards either.
I'm not trying. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
But I want to make.
You guys talking shit on trading cards?
I want to make. I want to do comics though, and trade. You know, so anyway, hey, you guys got to kick me out of here. Otherwise, I had coffee this morning, so we're gonna.
No, all right. Don't worry.
Yeah, let me.
But hey, real quick, I just want to say thank you so much. Anybody watching, thank you so much. I'd love to hang out with you guys again too. So I think we're going to talk about animation and stuff like that. We barely touched on it, so I'd love to kind of tell you guys about what I do, where I'm at, and also like, I'm over at AMC right now working on a new cartoon with them that's going to be coming out. That's related to a big TV show that people I think like.
Very cool.
But if you guys, I'm like hanging out. I like talking. So if you guys are ever just doing stuff and I can come hang out with you guys on your show and not be the main focus and just hang out, I'd love to just do something like that too. So
awesome.
This has been really fun. I really appreciate it. It's been great to meet both of you.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes, sir. All right, Davey, we're gonna boot you to the back real quick, and then we'll close out the show, and then we'll be right there.
But don't leave. I need to tell you a couple of stuff. Yeah.
All right, cool. Sounds good.
All righty. Okay, Pedro, man, great show.
Yeah. Wow.
Right on.
That was
Unemployed Monsters. I'm looking
that was
forward
a handful.
to it.
Yep.
Yes, I was excited for this book when I saw the pre-launch. I've been signed up for a couple months now. It'll be one that I do end up backing. Yeah, it looks good. I like the premise. Got some laughs. I wanted to ask a question about looks like a little turd on a character's shoulder, but we didn't get to that one.
Yeah.
But
right.
Pedro, is there anything you got to add, buddy, before we close this?
Guys, Unemployed Monsters, guys, get on the mailing list. This book looks awesome. I like the fact that it's not just like animators making a comic book, which is a comment I got a couple of days back. Like, oh, okay, so now animators are coming into comic books, and you don't really draw comics, dude. We're at least from what I'm seeing, animators are trying to make a bridge between animation and comics, and you can see it on the pages you see here in Unemployed Monsters. You can see that bridge, the way it's colored, the choices of camera angles. It's not just taking like cells from an animated show and putting it in a comic book page. So yeah, dude, this is a book to pay attention, guys. I couldn't recommend it. I could just recommend it, dude. Sign this mailing list. Get the books when it's out. Unemployed Monsters.
Do it. Boom.
Do it.
All right, gang. We will catch y'all next week. Have a great day.